Want to see dashcam videos you won't find anywhere else? You're in the right place. Every video you're about to see was sent directly to Wham Bam Dashcam. Buckle up. Watch what happened to David after he pulled up to a stop sign. In before someone leaves a comment about David being rammed by a ram. Subscribe if I just stole your joke. The driver of the black pickup claimed she hadn't seen David's Ford Fusion. Thankfully, nobody was injured, and the two parties were able to resolve the incident without involving any first responders. After sending his dashcam footage to her insurance provider, they accepted responsibility and paid $6,800 to fix David's car. They told him that without the video, they would have assigned him 50% of the blame, and he would have had no evidence to prove otherwise. He told us he has dashcams in all his vehicles, just in case. Ruben watched the driver of a Honda race a yellow light and get awarded the T-Bone Trophy.
Honda bumped! Honda bumped!
A turning Toyota got Honda bumped by the speeding Civic and got a furrowed fender and a dented door. Ruben stopped and offered his dashcam footage to both drivers and the police, but they all turned him down. Kevin was driving home after dinner with a friend when they watched another driver go the wrong way around an island and end up driving into oncoming traffic.
You're driving in the oncoming lane. Wham bam, how you doing?
Eventually, the other driver figured out his mistake. Kevin and his friend Aaron laughed as they drove off. Thankfully, no collisions occurred. Mike was leaving his workplace when he saw a black SUV trying to get out of a turn-only lane. As he drove up behind them, they turned off their turn signal, so he assumed they were just going to turn instead. Nope! They kept going straight while the car in the turn lane next to them turned across their lane and the two vehicles collided. Mike stopped to make sure everyone was okay and to give the driver of the car his dashcam footage. When Mike followed up the next day, he was told the SUV driver claimed the car had merged into him without looking. The driver of the car was very grateful for the footage, proving he wasn't at fault. We've seen bad truckers before, but this one might be the worst so far. Evington spotted this impatient truck driver using the shoulder of the highway to pass traffic not once, but twice. Evington called 911 and informed the Idaho State Police of what was happening. Thankfully, he didn't see any collisions occur. The police never called him back with any update. Alex was on his way to a work seminar. When his GPS began having issues, he took his eyes off the road in an attempt to get it working again. He freely admits that what happened next was his own fault. Alex accidentally ran a red light while he wasn't paying attention. Only by slamming on the brakes and by God's mercy was he able to avoid colliding with a Porsche. After that close call, Alex pulled over to fix his GPS and to change his pants, I assume. Riley was merging right when a red SUV that had just left that lane started drifting back. Riley jerked the steering wheel to avoid a collision, causing her Subaru Forester to lose control and spin into the highway barrier. The Subaru was totaled by the impact, and her insurance provider cut her a check for $5,800. This submitter was driving along when he encountered an SUV backing up down the Palisades Interstate Parkway. Our submitter honked and flashed his lights in an attempt to warn the driver of the SUV, but I'm guessing they knew exactly what they were doing and were just trying to reach the exit they just passed. Our submitter noted the SUV already had rear-end damage and theorized this might be attributable to the driver's lack of driving skills. Nathan was headed to the mall when he watched a biker behind him nearly get sideswiped by the driver of a Nissan SUV. The biker swerved into the other lane before pulling up next to the SUV and informing the driver of his mistake. Nathan said he thinks the Nissan driver didn't care, but I think I can see him saying, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." What do you think? We asked you for more Teslas behaving badly, and you delivered. This week's bad Tesla driver comes to us from a submitter in Malaysia who watched them overcorrect when another driver got too close for comfort.
That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive.
After swerving hard, the Tesla lost control and slammed into the car the driver had been trying to avoid. Why do you think this happened? Let us know in a comment and keep sending in your bad Tesla videos. Link in the description. This submitter was waiting at a traffic signal in a turn lane. When he got a green arrow for a protected left turn, a pickup driver ran their red light right in front of him. Thankfully, our submitter was able to slam on the brakes and avoid a collision. What's funny is that the pickup driver had been waiting at the red light for a while before he decided to run it. Wee Wake was driving down the Lyndon B. Johnson freeway when he watched two other drivers merge into the same lane at the same time.
Ay, 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 ay.
Thankfully, the driver of the Toyota noticed the approaching SUV and hit the brakes to avoid a collision, and it sounds like both drivers honked at each other just for good measure. This happened 2 days after Alex paid off his car. He was on his way to a car dealership to check out a new vehicle when a Dodge Charger drifted all the way across the road and sideswiped his Mitsubishi Mirage. Both drivers pulled over and Alex called the police so they would come make a report. The Charger driver admitted fault and said he hadn't seen Alex. Thankfully, nobody was injured. What makes this story even crazier is that the Charger driver had just left the DMV after getting license plates for his car. It sounds like it was a bad day for everyone. George was heading home from church when he watched a pickup truck in the distance pull out in front of a Jeep. Both vehicles spun around before stopping. George pulled over to check on the drivers, but there were no serious injuries confirmed. He got the responding deputy's card and emailed him a copy of his dashcam footage. Carter was on his way home from work when he watched another driver nearly sideswipe an SUV while merging onto the road. Carter slowed down to avoid hitting the Mazda SUV, whose driver pulled over after the close call. Kevin was managing drive-through orders at his workplace while his Nissan Juke sat in the parking lot, dashcam rolling. Suddenly, he heard a loud crash outside. Check out what he saw when he looked out the window. Kevin went on break and went out to his car. The driver who'd backed into his vehicle was driving on a learner's permit and had expired insurance coverage. Kevin got the kid's mother's number and worked out the repairs with her. The transmission was damaged by the impact as well as some bumper components, so the car is now getting fixed. Angel made a right on red through an intersection. Remember, in the United States, turning right through a red light is legal if traffic is clear and you first come to a complete stop. The pickup truck following Angel didn't stop, however. He just rolled right through the red light, making his right on red illegal. Too bad for him, a motorcycle cop watched him do this and took off after him. Gotta love that instant justice. Carson was getting ready to exit a Louisiana highway when he watched a reckless driver nearly rear-end other traffic. When the other driver slammed on the brakes and swerved, they briefly lost control and nearly hit the concrete barrier before straightening out. Carson told us he made sure to keep his distance. Fedora was leaving a friend's house when he approached what he calls an infamous four-way stop. After waiting for his turn, he proceeded through the intersection before a car ran the stop sign right in front of him. After managing to avoid a collision with that stop sign runner, another driver ran the same stop sign and he hit her instead. Thankfully, nobody was injured and both vehicles remain drivable. Fedora credits our channel with convincing him to buy the dashcam that saved him from being cited for running a stop sign. He said, "Buy a dashcam, it'll be the best $60 you'll ever spend." Remember Antonio, whose Nissan Sentra was pit maneuvered by a dump truck back in episode 41? At the time, he hadn't been able to track down the dump truck driver who fled the scene after the collision. He asked for your help finding CL Parker Trucking, and you delivered. After 5 months of fruitless searching, one of our fans helped Antonio find the dump truck. Antonio is now pursuing legal action and wanted to thank everyone who helped him find the dump truck driver. That reminds me, we have a bunch of people we need to thank. If you like our videos, consider supporting us on Patreon and come join our new patron-only Discord server. See you there!